life as a first responder doesn't end when the shift does. The high stress, fast-paced nature of the job can linger, can make it difficult to unwind and enjoy the time that we have off duty. But what if there was a way to switch gears and create mental and emotional space for yourself after the chaos of the day? Now, in this episode, I'm going to explore how mindfulness can help you make that transition. Right? I talk a lot about mindfulness, and this, again, it'll help you reduce stress, it'll promote emotional balance, and it'll create room for your recovery. So stick with me, and then we're going to dive into some simple, practical steps to integrate mindfulness into your life beyond the call of duty. Welcome to Shields Down, Healing for First Responders, the podcast dedicated to supporting and empowering those who serve on the front lines as they navigate the challenges of PTSD and trauma. Each episode, we shine a light on the emotional realities faced by first responders. Together, we'll explore stories of resilience, gain insights from mental health professionals, and uncover practical tools to guide recovery and growth. So whether you're a first responder facing PTSD or someone who supports them, Shields Down offers connection, hope, and a path forward. So let's take the first step together. Put your shield down, reclaim your strength, and remember, you're not alone. Tune in and let the healing begin. Okay, so first I want to talk about why mindfulness matters for first responders off duty. Now, the importance of mental recovery for intense, emotional, taxing situations is going to be different for everybody. It's going to be based on the resilience that you built from previous events, and it's also going to determine where you are in your life, where you are mentally, where you are emotionally, where you are physically. But mindfulness as a tool can really help you shift from the high stress into calmness, right? As first responders, we're constantly exposed to these high stress situations, these high adrenaline situations, which can really make it challenging to unwind when we're off duty. But mindfulness is going to serve as a powerful tool to help transition from that intense focus, that urgency required for us on the job, to a more relaxed, more balanced state. But by engaging in mindfulness practices, as first responders, we can really better recognize when we're carrying these residual stress. And mindfulness is going to help you take the steps to release it, making it more easier to relax and enjoy your own personal time off duty, right? We don't want to stay within our mindset. We don't want to stay in that negative flow that happens when we're on duty. We want to leave that at work and then begin to enjoy your life. Right? After these emotional taxing situations, the body and mind need time to recover. Right? It's like a boxer or something that goes on in life. They just constantly keep being punched and punched and punched. Can you imagine never being able to stop that? You never have that time to recover. But mindfulness really promotes mental recovery. It's going to encourage present, in the moment awareness and emotional regulation. But by staying grounded in the here, in the now, you can, as first responders, we can really process those difficult emotions and not let them linger or interfere with our personal lives. The process of emotional decompression is going to help prevent that long-term burnout and that emotional fatigue. And it's going to help you with that healthier work-life integration. And again, my friends, that's what I'm going for with these, is I want to show you that what you do now, what you do today, is going to affect your future, right? The more you can be mindful, the more you can bring and shut your mind off. An example I use sometimes is thinking your mind is like a computer, right? If your computer is always on, always running, the battery's going to burn out, stuff's going to die, and you're going to have to, we can't buy a new computer. We can't buy a new mindset. So we have to take care of the one we have. And that's what mindfulness does. All it does in in theory, it just shuts it down for a few minutes. It shuts it down for a little bit of time. Because when you're overstressed, when you're overstimulated, that means your mind's never shutting down. And that leads to burnout. Right? Now, when you do regular mindfulness practices, you can really overall lower that stress level. And it's going to reduce your body's fight or flight response, which is basically what we do as first responders and how it's overactivated. Right? This is going to reduce stress. Right? We're always in the fight. We're always either in the fight or we're kind of trying to protect ourselves and we're backing away. That's always how our jobs are. So when you can reduce this kind of stress, it's going to better lead to the emotional balance. It's going to enable you to approach your off-duty time with more peace of mind. Some people are so fixated at being at work and it's like, okay, it's a day off. And they're like, all I thought about was work. Well, they didn't do anything. They didn't do any mindfulness breathing. They didn't do any meditation. They weren't aware of their present moments. And that's what mindfulness does. It helps to create that space for mental clarity, right? Help you to recharge fully before that next shift. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you need to become a Buddhist monk if that's not your purpose, right? But to shut your mind off and just reset is going to improve your life, right? When you use mindfulness as a tool for emotional regulation and stress management, it's going to help regulate that, right? It's going to manage your emotions, especially after experiences of trauma or stressful events, right? Regular practice mindfulness is going to build your resilience, it's going to prevent burnout, and it's going to make it easier. And that's what we want. Don't we want an easier life? Right? We don't want a life that's stressful all the time. And it's like, man, I'm off shift. This sucks. All I can think about is being on shift. I'm so tired. I'm so drained. I need to drink, or I need to have a negative response. Right? Now, I know that in Canada, in some parts of Canada, probably some parts in the States, drugs are available, like marijuana and things like that. And some people I know use that to stress themselves. So what they're having to do is they're having to use an outside source of who they are to control what their mind's doing. And my friends, wouldn't you want to be able to relax yourself naturally? And I'm not saying like marijuana isn't a natural, because it is a plant-based organism, but you're putting something into your mind to slow your body down. I want to slow my body down just by closing my eyes and putting myself in that place, right? And if you're someone that's looking just for a quick fix, I'll say it right now, this isn't for you, right? Because this is a long-term fix. This isn't a Band-Aid. This is surgery for our life to create that life that we want. It takes time. It takes surgery, which is what we're doing, right? We're working through this. And then there's rehab after surgery to get us back to a place that is better than we were before. But you need to recognize and understand why meditation and mindfulness is so important. Right? You want to, when you get into a mindfulness state, it's going to help you become more aware of your emotional stressors. Again, specifically after those experiences of trauma or high stress situations. What do you do right now when you're in a high stress situation? Do you just move on to the next one, or do you pause? Do you journal? I literally have a journal with me at work. So if I face something on shift, I can take 5 to 10 minutes and I can write down, okay, what did that make me feel? How did that make me deal with this? How do I move on from this? What are some things that I can do to work through this? And I do that because my life's important to me. My family is important to me, which is why I take care of myself. And by practicing mindfulness, you can better recognize when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're feeling anxious, when you're emotionally triggered, without immediately reacting to that situation. But if you don't pay attention, you're not going to know. So you have to increase your self-awareness, and it's going to give you an opportunity to pause, to assess your feelings rather than being consumed by them. Right? Don't let your feelings consume you. You control your feelings. right? We're not controlled by the events that come into our lives. We're controlled by the emotions that we attach to that event, which is why when I go through an event, I can have a different emotional reaction than if you were to go through the exact same event. It's because we're attaching different emotions to that event. We're giving it more meaning or less meaning. And that's why it's, post-traumatic stress disorder and things like that are different for different people. And this skill is crucial for emotional regulations, as it really creates space for thoughtful response instead of that knee-jerk reaction in those stressful moments. Now, you can use mindfulness to process trauma and stress, right? We often carry the weight. My gosh, my friends, we carry so much weight from those traumatic events that we've been through. Blaming ourselves or thinking we should have done something differently, maybe reacted to something differently, which can lead to emotional suppression or avoidance. Mindfulness really encourages us not to be non-judgmental, right? Of our thoughts, of our emotions as they arise, right? Knowing that it's a normal response to an abnormal situation. Because when you can practice this, you can really prevent that buildup of unresolved emotions, which is what leads to burnout, which is what leads to post-traumatic stress disorder. It's just unresolved emotions that have built up over and over and over again. You have to learn, I don't want to use the example as an onion, right? You have to peel back the layers to get who you really are, because each situation, each event that sets you off is just another layer that you're putting on top, and you need to peel back those layers to get you to a place that you want to be. Regular mindfulness also strengthens our emotional resiliency, right? It helps us bounce back because we train the brain to handle stress more effectively. It teaches us to stay present in these challenging situations and not let our emotions take over. Leads to better stress management, both on and off duty, right? So by reducing emotional reactivity and promoting your calm mindfulness, it's going to help prevent that burnout. And it's going to help you transform from being at work to being at home. Right? And it promotes long-term emotional well-being. So some small sustainable steps to build a mindfulness practice, right? Because we're all like, yeah, let's go. Let's change our life. And like I said, this is a race. It's not a race. It's a marathon. It's going to take time. Mindfulness is going to help you become more aware of your emotional states. Okay, so you need to pay attention to that. Okay, why am I feeling this? Why am I getting overwhelmed at this situation? What has been there in the past? Right? Why am I anxious? Why am I emotionally triggered? Right? But you don't immediately react. You go, man, gosh, I'm an idiot, or I'm a failure. Why am I acting like this? Smarten up and smack yourself in the head or something. That's not what we're going for, my friends. We're going, okay, I'm starting to cry here. Why am I feeling like this? Because there's overwhelm. There's built up stressors in your life that's causing your body to go, I need a break. I need to shut down. But when you can increase your self-awareness and go, okay, why? Why am I feeling like this? Right? And mindfulness helps you pause. It helps you assess those feelings. Right? And this is crucial for emotional regulation. Right? To control your emotions, you have to know why you're having them. And this takes time. And it takes time to go, okay, you journal. Right? You know me, I love journaling. For those who have been following this podcast for the last few months, I love journaling. And if you can look back at your journal, you can say, okay, I remember I faced this situation in the past and it made me feel like this. Okay, well, today I'm feeling the same situation, or I'm feeling the same emotion. What am I going through? And then you write that down and you go, okay, I see the pattern here. And then you begin to recognize it. And you go, okay, I know that if I'm faced with this, I'm possibly going to react like this. And that's what mindfulness does. And you learn, okay, it's not a bad thing. Right? And then being mindful, like when you pay attention to this, you're going to see the traumatic events that you go through. right? You're going to see that it's okay, right? But you have to practice this. You have to practice understanding that these unresolved emotions are going to cause problems. And that's not what we want to do. We want to create the life that we want, and we want to be there for our friends and family in the future. So I want to give you a little exercise at the end here. It's very simple to do, as most of my exercises are. And it's just practicing mindfulness techniques, right? It's going to go from transitioning from work to personal time. And it's going to promote that emotional decompression and mental clarity, right? It doesn't take long. I don't know how many times I've tell you guys that. When you're doing something mindfully or doing a meditation or something, it doesn't take long. So practice this at the end of your next shift. So when the shift is over and you're preparing to leave work, take a few minutes and sit in your car, okay? Or another quiet place before you drive home. Close your eyes, take a deep breath through your nose. Now slowly exhale it through your mouth and focus on the sensations of your body. Notice if there's any tension in your shoulders, neck, or other areas. Release that tension with an exhale, right? Feel it and go, okay, I'm releasing this, I'm releasing this, I'm releasing this. But mentally acknowledge that the shift you've just completed, right? Say, man, that was a tough shift. But I'm leaving that stress. I'm leaving that worry. I'm leaving that negativity behind. And then as you prepare to go home, take a few minutes and set an intention for being off, right? That you're going to be present with your loved ones. That you're going to rest. That you're going to do a hobby or something that you really enjoy. And picture all this. And then open your eyes and carry this mindful awareness into your next activity, which is probably transitioning smoothly to that work mode home life and drive home, right? It's very simple just to really reset that, right? Just practice even saying to yourself, I'm off shift and I'm leaving the stress here. I'm releasing this from my body, from my mind, and I'm letting it go. And that's where it's going to be so powerful. Our words are the most powerful thing in our lives. Our own words, our own thoughts. This is what's going to create that life that you want. But we're so focused on using that negative thoughts. Oh man, I failed today. I'm an idiot. And then it builds and builds. No, I'm leaving this at work. I did a great job. I have some lessons to learn, but I'm going to improve. And I'm moving forward. But I'm leaving that here now because it's time for me to be around my family. It's time for me to be at home and have that. My family needs me. And that's where I'm going to be. I trust this gave you another tool for your toolbox. And if it didn't, don't worry about it. Let it go and, come join the next one and we'll see what I show you there. But as first responders, our job is going to bring us stress. It's going to bring us pressure, and it's going to have an emotional weight that doesn't simply disappear by the end of our shifts. But by intentionally integrating mindfulness into your life off duty, you can create a much needed buffer between the demands of the job and your personal time, right? I discussed how mindfulness can really help you decompress. It can help you regulate your emotions. It can shift from high stress work to calm into that balanced state. It's about taking small steps, my friends, right? Whether it's a few mindful breaths, recognizing your emotional triggers, or setting a positive intention as you transition home. That's going to make the huge difference in your overall well-being. But remember, mindfulness is not about being perfect. It's about showing up for yourself in small, meaningful ways and being consistent in your practice. Now, over time, these small efforts are going to create more mindfulness approach to both your work and personal life, fostering resilience, reducing stress, and enhancing your emotional health. Now, again, I encourage you to try this mindfulness transition. Do it a couple times, see how it feels. And then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But keep showing up for yourself, both on and off duty. Because your well-being is just as important as the lives you serve and protect. Thank you for tuning in to Shields Down, Healing for First Responders, Remember, healing is a journey, and each step forward matters. Now, if today's episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might need it. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories, insights, and tools for recovery. Together, we'll build a stronger, more resilient community. Until next time, stay safe, stay strong, and we'll see you on the next episode.